Train Dreams is the story of Robert Grainier, who is a logger and a railroad worker who leads a life of simplicity and kind of unexpected depth in the early 20th century of the rapid turn of technology and society in America. He is a simple living man played by Joel Edgerton. He is a logger. He travels to work, comes home, visits his family with a wife played by Felicity Jones. And that's kind of the movie. And we're with Robert through kind of his whole life. It is a 100-minute feature, so getting through an entire life in just under 2 hours is a challenge. It's achieved kind of phenomenally by director Clint Bentley. He formerly worked on Sing Sing, and then a movie before that called Jockey, which he actually directed. He didn't direct Sing Sing, but here he is working on Train Dreams. Train Dreams is kind of phenomenal because it is soulful and it is inspiring and it is quietly devastating. It is a movie that is often kind of sad and dour, but ultimately is designed to stir emotion in its audience and to kind of drive you to feel a certain way about your life and the time you spend in it. It is similar to something I think in tone like It's a Wonderful Life, the story of George Bailey, a man who has lived too passively and has maybe let the world pass him by a little bit. Similar even to I Saw the TV Glow, somebody who lives a life of maybe missed opportunity. And through Robert Grainier and through kind of this really stunning performance by Edgerton, we get to see the beauty and wonder of the world in the early 1900s. Let's talk about Train Dreams. Andy, what'd you think?
So I was really into this for about the first hour, and then I kind of struggled with the last 20, 30 minutes. But I really love the kind of the first half of the idea of this man. It very Terrence Malick, where you have lots of the camera looking up through the trees, and there's a great shot of a camera strapped to a tree as it's being cut over, so you fall as the tree falls. It's a brilliant shot, and it's about a man who's very to himself, very stoic, and you kind of see the blood of progress as they're building these railroads. People die, construction workers die. There's racism. There's kind of Wild West style violence of people, because the logging business attracts a certain kind of lonely men without families, men without homes, men without money, and so you get a lot of kind of ex-cons, and it's a strange environment to be around because Robert Grainier is not like that. He's just a man kind of from the area. It's very much about the passage of time, the passage of progress, what it means to be part of the world, and then seemingly see it start passing you by as technology comes. And then he eventually meets Felicity Jones' character at church, falls in love with her. They start a family. A lot of this remind me of The Brutalist in a lot of ways. It's very much about the American dream versus the American reality, that kind of thing. It takes a turn about halfway through the film and has a different direction, and that's where it lost me a little bit. I love the beginning, and I love the America, what we are, what we think we are, and the cost of progress, the blood of progress, all that stuff really worked well. And then it goes in a different direction, and I just couldn't go along with it. But that seems to be just me. Most people are loving this.
Yeah, it's a really interesting presentation, Train Dreams. The aspect ratio is real tall. It's 1.5 by 1, which is almost like full screen, right? It's almost square. It's similar to The Lighthouse. And initially, I'd read people criticizing Netflix for saying that's why that's almost the perfect aspect ratio of an iPad. It's like Netflix wants people watching stuff, but it's not that, actually. Director Clint Bentley says they shot it that way so you get the tallness of the trees. That's a big part of it, man. The outdoors is such a huge part of Train Dreams. Much of the advertising you'll see from it, the footage we're running online from the trailer right now, it's almost all outdoor stuff. Robert Grainier lives a life of essentially the outdoors. Even going inside of a house is just kind of a cabin with slits in the walls and stuff. You're kind of always camping, and having to travel out to this deep woods and deep wilderness for work, do all this logging work, and then come back home takes a toll on him. And as that time passes, he begins to feel like life is passing him by, his wife and a young daughter at home, and they're growing, and his daughter is getting older, and he just growing to not know her, and that stuff is a real challenge through the first bit. But you get some really great work from Joel Edgerton. William H. Macy has a very small part in this movie that is very profound. It is a great small role, like no small parts. William H. Macy understands that really well. It's kind of an older logger who departs some wisdom on Robert. Felicity Jones is a lot of fun in this movie. Kerry Condon is in this movie later in the film. Man, there's no good way to get around it. She should not do a lot of roles with American accents. It just doesn't come over that good. Like, you can hear her accent slipping. I love Kerry Condon. She's very good in this movie. I like her character in this movie. I like her fine. I love Kerry Condon. But she's got such a rich accent. Just go with the one you got, girl. Like, don't like whoever's hiring her to do Americans, give her a break. Just let her do the accent she's got. She's a great actress. It's fine. But otherwise, like, everybody in this is really great. But you're right. Like, through a lot of the last half of the movie, it's a lot of Grainier essentially alone. He is a very quiet individual, and he keeps to himself. So it's a lot of him out in the woods, him looking at the sky, him thinking about life. Very Terrence Malick presentation, like you said, which is amazing because it was like a 29-day shoot. And like a lot of it is outside. It is mostly natural light. The bonfire scenes are just fire. Like, it is super dark. Like, you get these really rich colors over like just a really fast digital shoot. We're just hitting it real quick. And like, I don't know. Yeah, you end up with something that feels very prescient and very profound.
Yeah, like I love the profession's an interesting thing. This thing of being a logger, because you think it is a very old school thing that is always kind of going to be that way. But there's a weird mix of people where, you know, he's not a young man, but he's not an old man yet. But he's working with men who are much older, who are running from things and have different kind of experiences, along with like you know, people who are completely green and they've only been doing this a couple of years. And there's a great conversation with William H. Macy where, you know, one of the young guys is like, you know, I've seen how many trees there are between here and wherever, and we could chop 1,000 years and never run out. And William H. Macy's like, well, I used to think that too. And so there's this whole thing about our relationship to nature. And again, the blood of progress and the cost of it, the personal cost and the cost to our society to do, I mean, something as devastating as deforesting big places like that. So just some fascinating, you know, musings on things like time and progress. And I was really into that. And like I said, there's not as much of that in the second part of the film. And that's a little bit where I got lost.
Yeah, I should say it's based on a novella. Should have opened with that, by Denis Johnson, which I have not read. But as I understand it, in Johnson's novel, Robert Grainier is a little bit more complicit in kind of the world around him. You see a little bit of that early in the movie. He's working with some, I think, Chinese immigrants on the rail line, you know, in the early 1900s, and a couple of them get like carted away, and he doesn't really make an effort to stop them, and that kind of bothers him throughout the rest of the film. Here, he's a bit softer, as I understand it, and that I think comes directly from director Clint Bentley, who said that he wanted Grainier to feel like, you know, our parents' parents, so your grandfather's grandfather, who probably lived through a time when like life was much simpler, and they maybe had a lot of questions about how the world worked, but they lived a full and great life anyway. You know what I mean? Like, even if you're like just a logger in the woods, like, life is beautiful and worth living. And I think that's what makes this movie so inspired. That's what I think really makes people stand out. It's just, I don't know. It's a lot of beautiful imagery, and it's a lot of thoughtful meditations on a life well lived. Also with narration by William Patton, who does not appear in the film, but it's great. Bentley described him in a podcast like he wanted it to sound like somebody you just hear like talking at a bar in the early 1900s. If you just walked in and sat down next to a man, he'd be like, "Let me tell you about Robert Grainier, and let me tell you about his life." And like, that's just kind of the setting for this really existential, heady piece on time and time passing you by and how you're spending it, and whether or not, you know, you're living your life to your fullest, or you just kind of letting it go.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the cinematography and like this movie is so beautifully shot. As soon as it started, I thought this is going to be great. This is going to be great because I could tell this is one of those things where the director has taken time to really think about what do I want to shoot. And there's these, I mean, just a lot of great shots in nature, but it starts with this one where you're inside like a train tunnel, and you're exiting, and it's it's completely dark except for where the tunnel lets out, and it was just such an incredibly well composed shot, and you get tons of that throughout the film. And I was like, I'm in for something special visually because of the care taking on just our opening 5 minutes. And sometimes a movie is like that. I remember Blade Runner 2049 has an incredible opening shot, and I was like, pure cinema, like the hands up. And this has a lot of that too. Very, very beautifully shot.
Really great music as well from Bryce Dessner, who I don't know what else Bryce has done. And I'll find out in just a second. The Revenant. Okay. Yeah, I remember seeing The Revenant in theaters. Yeah. And really great performance from Edgerton. Like, just want to reiterate that. I know people have been talking about maybe some kind of awards buzz for him. He's just locked in, man. Like, telling the story of a life is complicated, especially with like large jumps in time. But like, he just seems to be exactly tapped in on how Robert feels on the day by the hour. Like, whether or not he's sad or he's gleeful or feeling like inspired by something. Like, and it's not a lot of dialogue. It's a lot of subtle stuff. And he's just got like that weathered kind of look. My man, like, is period appropriate. Like, it's really great work. It might be my new favorite performance from Edgerton. Like, he's really doing something special in here.
Yeah, he's great. I think I think he's going to be in the conversation for Oscars. William H. Macy especially, like, it's one of those things where he's not in the movie for very long, but he's so impactful with his role as Arn Peebles, this kind of veteran of the logging game, and tragically at least so. So Edgerton, again, it's a lot of he doesn't say much, he doesn't talk much. It's more about how he holds himself, how he thinks about the world, and this incredible loneliness. Because even though he has a family, he's away from them so long. Because he's got to go logging. That's how he's paying for, to raise his family. So he has to be gone from them for so long. So there's this innate loneliness in his entire life.
Yeah. We got to wrap this up. We got to talk about recommendations. Any other thoughts, recommendations, Andy?
I'm ready.
Would you recommend Train Dreams on Netflix?
Yeah, I would. It's a quick 100 minutes. But it is this very slow, beautiful, philosophical look at the American dream, the American reality, the cost of progress, whether it's nature, whether it's family, whether it's personal health, these kinds of things. Incredible performances from Felicity Jones and Joel Edgerton, and of course the great William H. Macy. So highly recommend. For me, I kind of petered out the last 20 minutes, but I think other people will probably enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm even warmer than Andy on Train Dreams. I absolutely recommend. This movie is really cool. And I think maybe something special. Like, it is genuinely tugging at heartstrings. It's emotional. It's moving. It's soulful. It's devastating. If you like The Brutalist, check out Train Dreams. If you like It's a Wonderful Life, I Saw the TV Glow. Even, honestly, I just played through Red Dead Redemption 2. It's got echoes of Arthur Morgan's story. If you're a Red Dead 2 fan, I think Train Dreams is worth your time. Like, there's something really special here. This is a Netflix winner for sure. And it's a rare sight for Netflix. So way to go. Shout out Clint Bentley. I can't wait to see what he does next. Check out Train Dreams. What a week. Good God, we've done a long episode. Andy, what are we watching next week?
We're going to be taking a look at Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery. This is the third film in the Knives Out.